What's up, y'all? This is Coach Raff. This is In Between the Yards, baby. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome to In Between the Yards with Coach Raff. Today I got a special guest who really don't need an introduction, but I'm going to introduce him myself. We have Coach Armijo, the head coach from Murray High School. And I just want to thank you for being out here, man. Why don't you tell the audience a little about yourself?
First and foremost, I'm so grateful that we met, and I'm getting this opportunity just to express how grateful I am to have high school football as an option for a career. I mean, it's just a blessing, true blessing. It started for me in first grade. I met my best friend, Dominic Farrar, at Palmview Elementary, and it's in Covina, California. We started our journey together as buddies, and his dad was the defensive coordinator at the local high school. At that time, it was Royal Oak High School, and I just fell in love at like 7 with football. These players had a distinct energy, and they had a distinct toughness within them. The varsity team was 27 kids total.
27?
27, and they were in the playoffs every season like when I was a little kid, and then I became ball boy, and as I was ball boy, I became friends with these high schoolers. To this day are my friends on Facebook, and we communicate. Jerry Patterson was the running back of my dreams because I wanted to play running back at first.
Okay.
And he was magic. And I'll never forget, it might have been 1982 against Bassett High School, and he set the school record at the time for 250 yards rushing. And I was running down the field with him. And then, he was just killing it.
Yeah.
And then after killing it, he'd come off the sideline, rough, and he would sit with me on the bench and talk to me like the game wasn't even happening.
Love it.
Like, how you doing, Roger? You know, is school going okay? And he's setting records, and I'm like, to me, he's like an NFL football player at that point in my life. And then I found myself on Saturday mornings, I'd spend the night at my friends. We would ball boy together, and then I'd spend the night at their house, and then I'd be up at like 7. I'm like, we got to go to films, bro. And my buddy's like, I want to sleep in, man. I don't want to go. And I'm like, you don't get it, dude. We get to go in there. And so I would sit right next to the coach and right on his lap, and it was old 8mm film. And then you would have to hit return or rewind, and it was like the brakes on a diesel truck. And then it would go back, and it just was
the canister.
and it was just it was magic, right? And we're all in this room, and it was football, and it was accountability.
That's awesome.
And this coach, when I was that age, we would watch the film on the right side of his classroom, and he was a psychology teacher. And on the left side, it's the first time I saw a frequency chart. And it was on a chalkboard, green chalk, yellow
old
chalk.
school. Okay.
Yeah. And he just had like how many I formation plays, and it was chicken scratch. How many pass, play action plays, and all that. So when I'm, I don't know, what am I at, 8, 9? I'm seeing that, like, that's how coaches coach.
Yeah.
And then he was also cutting edge about weightlifting. He had a gym in his house that the players would come over. And at that point, the perception was that exercising and lifting weights didn't benefit you to play football.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like kids that are like freshmen, sophomore should be working out? I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. There's coaches that their sophomores and their freshmen don't work out at all.
I know. It's to each his own. But for me, I think resistance training is more a form of injury prevention, right?
Absolutely.
And flexibility and different exercises that really focus on your core and your core strength are most beneficial to kids and avoiding injury.
I agree.
However, which I love about education, I'm continuing to learn consistently daily, and I love to be a lifelong learner. I love opportunities where I can improve and learn more about strength and conditioning and learn more about injury prevention. But it goes like this, though. There's something about resistance training that allows your brain to decide to be a better person than you thought you can be.
Absolutely.
That is what it does. It pushes you, right? And then you hit a wall. And I try to teach kids all the time, you got to fight past that wall.
Absolutely.
And your personal greatness exists. And I believe that you can do it. You just got to decide that you can do this. And resistance training is one method or one strategy that we can use to help kids recognize that this is how they're going to push through. So I ended up playing for the coach. I was ball boy, and then I played high school, and I was successful in high school. I was lucky enough. I'm pretty sure I graduated in 1989, but I think I still have like 4 all-time records at the high school.
Okay.
I was in the school Hall of Fame as well. I think, it's been a minute, but I had a lot of tackles. That was
what was your position in high school?
Running back, tailback, and linebacker.
Okay.
And pretty much, so when I was a freshman, Jeff Guston was a senior, and they won the championship, undefeated. At the time, Charter Oak High School set the state record for points in a season. It was like 500 and some.
What?
Yeah, and they just rolled everybody in. It was old school. It was full house backfield. Full house.
Super I formation, ground and pound.
Oh, no, it was 3 running backs and a quarterback, and then our fullback was phenomenal. And they would just ride him, and then our quarterback was phenomenal. Our quarterback's dad played in the NFL.
So you guys were part of those guys that actually utilized your fullback, like a Mike Allstott, right?
Yes,
Like,
and he was our juice, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because we had 2 other Division I athletes at those other running backs, but the offense was primarily, hey, if we can get 4 yards per carry, we're going to be all right. And our guy was 6'1", 245 in high school.
What?
And running like a 4.8. You know,
Sheesh,
so
that's a tank.
And we weren't in the highest division. You know, we were in a smaller school.
Yeah.
So he was just, I mean, he was not someone I want to tackle, even on my best day. But he just scored tons of touchdowns, and then everything else worked off of that.
Okay.
The play action, the option, and you got to look. Our quarterback was phenomenal, and if he kept the ball, which. If it wasn't for that fullback being so dominant, if he kept the ball, he would have been the MVP of everything. But
really?
He was only a 10th grader. He was
in 10th grade, 6'1", 240.
No, that was a senior. Sorry, the quarterback.
Okay.
The quarterback was 10th grader, but
10th grader.
Everybody else was in 12th grade, and that's why they rolled everybody.
Okay.
And then I was a freshman, and we were undefeated as freshmen as well. And then they bumped us up to a higher classification, and we got baptized. I mean, these other bigger schools were phenomenal.
It's like playing a Power 5, right?
Yep, exactly. Going from the little guys. And then we ended up working our way back, and then our junior year made it to the second round of the playoffs. And then our senior year, we lost our lineman, but we finished probably 5-5, right down the middle of the road. And
that's pretty good though, considering that you guys left like maybe you're like a Division III and went up to like a Division VI. Or,
correct.
You know what I mean? That's pretty impressive though.
I might be
go ahead, bro.
But this is what it's about. So our coach won the championship. We smoked everybody. But in the higher division, there was a school, Los Altos, and their coach,
I know exactly what I said. Yeah,
had 7 championships. So at that time, maybe like 5, right?
Okay.
And we were undefeated in our league, and my junior year, and they were undefeated in our league. And they're big time football, right? They had NFL players coming out of their school, and their coach was phenomenal. And so I'm in a position where my junior year, I was captain of the defense, and I'm leading the group off the bus, right? And I'm Raphael, I'm getting off the bus, and I'm hearing like a noise that I hadn't heard before. I'm like, my goodness, what is that noise? Like I hadn't heard it. And as we're getting closer, it's their band warming up.
Really?
And they had 100 kids in their band. What? And they were working out before the game. And I looked to my boy, and I'm like, we're going to lose, dude. Like, the band just beat us. Like, they were just immaculately dressed. And they had so much pride. And it was a college deal, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It was definitely like, this is what real football is about.
Right.
I'm really passionate about our high school band and supporting my energies and resources to help them
they set
be
the
dominant.
tone. They definitely can set the tone.
I want the whole community to come to a game.
Absolutely.
And I want it to touch every soul in our area. And it could be the people in the band. It could be the people working in the snack bar. It could be the dancers at halftime.
Right.
I want a show where your kid doesn't have to play football to come to the game. They just want to appreciate kids and kids be stars.
That's right.
And my job is I got to do some winning so that we can get people there so that they can see these great kids achieving greatness.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we got our butts kicked that night because they were way more physical. But I'm telling you, that band, then I got college football bands. Like from that point on, I was like 15 or 16. I used to, at college games, I would not watch halftime or I'd change it. Mm-hmm. And now I would like all in, right?
Hey, you got to get love to the band, right?
Yeah, like they're it's next level stuff, right?
That's what's up, Coach.
Anyway, so then I finished high school, and I got what do they call it? Preferred walk-on to USC was offered to me, and then I thought that I could get a scholarship, so I went to Mount San Antonio College. And to play football, and then there was a player there. His name was Leonard Russell, and he played in the NFL. And I realized maybe football's not for me. Like this guy was 250 for 540, you know. And he played in the NFL. He was rookie of the year for the Patriots and stuff. Yeah. But when we were there, I was like, oh, I'm not. Like this guy's the running back. I'm the linebacker. He's bigger than me and way faster than me. So then I just decided to start working, and I went to work and continued my education, knew that I was always going to be educated, and then got an itch when I was like 23 to coach. And then I got a coaching job as the freshman for that at Charter Oak. Mm-hmm. And then we won the league, and it was my first year coaching. I was defensive coordinator, really had a good time, and then got an itch to play. And so then I was going to a Division III school, University of Laverne, to get my teaching credential, and I played for their team because you can just like walk on. Okay. And I ended up at the end of the year starting at middle linebacker for them, but it had been a minute since I had been out on the field, so I was like not in great shape, you know, and I was trying my hardest, but these kids were faster than me, and I had the toughness gene. I just don't got the speed gene, you know? But we had some great guys on the team. We had a great time. Yeah. And then I got my teaching degree, and then I went and taught special education and coached at Charter Oak with the coach. So then my desk was 2 desks down from this legendary head coach. And once a week, twice a week, he'd come and set down a piece of paper on my desk, and it was basically how to get better. It might be an article on special teams. It might be an article on DB play.
That's awesome.
It might be an article on wide receivers. Yeah. Because he said, you're going to learn to coach every position before I let you coach all of them.
That is beautiful.
And gave me all the resources I need. And I just tried my hardest, and I was coached. My best friend was the offensive coordinator. Okay. And then another friend, his name was Roger Lehigh, is the best coach I've ever been around, and he was the defensive coordinator. And I learned so much from him and the head coach, but that RD coordinator was unbelievable coach. Unbelievable.
That's awesome.
He's the one that we were in cover 4, like 2 palms reading in 99. And that wasn't even existent in 99. And just all of the stuff that almost more like, you know, I talked to my family about a meal and what makes a meal. It's the sauce, right?
That's the sauce.
It's the sauce.
It's the sauce.
You got the protein that matters, but it's the sauce that makes it.
That's true.
His defense always had sauce, right? Okay. It was something like magical about the way that he developed kids, was patient with their development, but understood that the pie's going to work. We just got to let it cook.
True.
And he was great with that.
Well, I got some questions I got to ask you, man. You got me fired up. I love it. So these are the questions I have for Coach Armijo. All right. And this is going to be awesome. So, Coach, the first question I have for you is, how do you prioritize character development and sportsmanship within your coaching philosophy, and how do you install these values in your players?
You know, character development is the reason I'm in education. I care most about the person then I care about the player.
Love that.
I've won enough, 3 championships, been to the finals 5 times, multiple region championships. I've coached 6 different sports and won multiple championships in girls basketball and softball, you name it.
Okay.
I've been lucky enough. I mean, it's a lot of times it's the kids that I was just set with great kids, but as it relates to character development now, I don't need to win to define my legacy.
Right.
I need to develop and teach kids that greatness is within them and it's within their reach.
I agree.
And these are the strategies that I've learned that can assist you to become great individually as a person, but more collectively us as a team.
Yeah.
But we cannot do that if we don't have trust.
True.
Trust is the main cement that will hold us all together so that we feel like a family. And I feel like honesty is the secret sauce for that trust to develop. So I try to be as transparent as I can with players. I try to be myself as much as I can and let them know that I'm all in on them.
Right.
My heart and my soul is caring about their progress and their success first, and my individual needs are 50th.
Love that.
At least that's the way I try to go at it. And I feel in my heart like if I do it right, we're going to win and loss. It's going to take care of itself.
Right.
But kids that are great people are going to result out of the program. They're going to be challenged. They're going to develop. They're going to be the best they can be. And that's my job,
right,
is to produce that for these kids.
You know what? I love that you said that because, hearing that from you, there's a lot of kids that are, the B team kids or the C team kids, and 6th, 7th, and 8th, and they're just like, oh, I'll never start. But it's like, I love what you said because it's all about development. When you have that development mentally, right? Sometimes that mentality, the body will follow. As long as the work is done.
Hey, I got a great story. I'm gonna just,
let's go.
Story.
No, actually,
Okay?
Go ahead, bro. Go.
So when I was at Charter Oak, I'm now a teacher, special ed teacher, and I was the D-line coach, running backs coach, and special teams coordinator. And I was in charge of the scout team, the beanie defense, right?
Okay.
And so every year I would tell coach, head coach, I go, my job is to get a starter for next year off my beanie squad, right? And he's like, you knock yourself out, Armijo. You go do that, And I had a middle linebacker, and his name was Andrew Couch. And I'll never forget Andrew Couch. And fortunately for me, he hasn't forgotten me. I think he's 35 now, maybe 38. He calls me every year whenever he comes into town to visit, to go skiing. He's a engineer at Texas Instruments. He calls me and we get together. And he was on my beanie team at linebacker, and the front and the pressure packages that I was in charge of producing for the offense, me and him got it down to a 1, 2, or 3, or an A, B, or C.
Yeah.
And he knew if I went 1A that it was a 5-man pressure and this was the coverage behind it. And he knew if it was 3C, what it meant.
Yeah.
And him and I would go over that before the week of practice in an instant, and we would just knock it out. And then we just had this signal system that to this day I'll use, like, hey, we're in 1, and it means, based on the formation, all the accommodations we'll make. So anyway, he's out there. We were in the finals, championship game, and we lost his junior year. And we got to spring practice his senior year, and we have the best running back in the whole division coming back. And I was the running back coach, and I went up to him at practice in spring ball, and I said, hey, man, I want you. And he's never seen the field. He was on kickoff team maybe as a freshman.
Okay.
But he's never gotten any starting reps ever. And I said, I want you to be my starting fullback, man. And he looked at me, and he's like, Coach, no way. And he goes, what if I get Keith killed? And I'm like, bro, do you think I know football? And he's like, yeah, Coach. And I'm all, you're my guy. You're tough as nails. You're smart. You're my guy.
Yeah.
So he ends up playing fullback, doesn't miss a play all year, scored a touchdown, which to him was unbelievable, and we won the championship.
That's beautiful.
And then this is what happens. Andrew Couch graduates from high school, joins the Marines.
Okay.
He goes to the Marines for 4 years, gets out of the Marines, not sure what he wants to do with his life, goes to a junior college, and wants to play football. They said, what position? He goes, running back's where the coach put me.
Yeah.
He gets a scholarship or financial aid to the best engineering school in the nation, graduates, is now a head engineer at Texas Instruments.
Get out.
And listen to how I found out, Rafael. So one time he comes and visits, like he lives in Texas.
Yeah.
Coach, we're skiing. Come on, meet me. And he goes, meet me at this restaurant downtown. So I'm like, him and I are like, now, we're tight forever.
Right.
And I sit down and his mom and dad are sitting at the table with me, right? And I'm like, oh no, like, am I in some kind of trouble here? What's going on? And the dad looked at me and he said, I told my son, there's gonna be someone that notices you and believes in you. You just got to keep working as hard as you can. And he looked at me and he said, Coach Armijo, you're that man. And his mom looked at me and she goes, he talks about you daily to everybody.
It makes a difference, brother.
And he now is killing it, and he's checking on me all the time. And we're talking, he graduated 2002.
Wow.
And he's checking on me every year. And that, when you talk about the guy on the beanie squad, that's my sweet spot, man. Developing
absolutely.
those players and believing in them. I feel like if I coach them, the other dudes will be coached just fine.
No, absolutely. It kind of reminds me of a kid that there's this kid that I coached for a few years, man. Unbelievably smart, lovable kid. His name's Preston Pratt. This kid is a beast. And that's the type of story. And those are the type of stories you live for. Those are life-changing events. His life may have taken a different trajectory had you not build them up, So that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. My second question is, can you share an example of a specific strategy you employ to motivate and inspire your players both on and off the field?
When you talk about motivation, that tends to be my sweet spot.
Okay.
And I think that ultimately it's motivation to achieve individual greatness and to digest and accept hard things.
Right.
Let's not just deal with hard things. Let's have hard things come at us so that we can be tested, and then we can refine our skill set so that then we can become resilient.
Ooh.
There's no great team that exists that isn't resilient.
Right.
On those championship run, we were in the championship game 4 years in a row, and we never believed that we were out of it. We always believed we were into it. One of the things I would do is I would show them old clips of great because I'm overboard about football and my love for it.
Yeah.
So I would take out the best running backs of all time, and I'd get my running backs in a room, and this was 2000.
Who's all right, top three? Top three. I want to hear your top three.
Running backs
all time.
Ooh. So college or pro?
3 college, 3 pro.
Nice. Okay, so I'll tell you the story here about what I think is the greatest single running back performance that I've seen on a national stage. It was when USC in 1979 played against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. And I showed the boys the final drive when Charles White, I'm pretty sure, touched the ball 15 times in a row and finished with a touchdown.
Okay.
And we were in the semifinals, and we were down by 4, and I went to my running back and I said, "You're Charles White right now."
Okay.
And then after the game, we made it to the finals, and he came up to me and he's all, "Coach, that really worked." Like, that really worked. I was like, I'm going to be that guy. And he drove down and he scored. So you go first with Charles White because of his toughness, and just the offense they ran was my dream. Just, power football, sweeps, powers, they call it university right, university left. But when you back off of him, I think Earl Campbell is probably even a little bit higher to me because he's the player I saw in 1977 on Monday Night Football versus the Dolphins. I was 6 years old, and I watched him run an 81-yard touchdown run down the sideline, and I was hooked. He was my guy, right? Love him. Love me some Marcus Dupree.
Okay.
He was a guy who kind of got lost in the shuffle at Oklahoma. But his documentary is truly special, and you see what he was. and so silent but aggressive and deadly.
Okay.
Walter Payton is where it's at.
Okay.
I think that he's the epitome of all the skills that it takes to be a great football player, but he can play running back as well.
Absolutely.
And then finish up my boys. No, it's Eric Dickerson. He was
Dickerson
my juice. I was LA Rams all the way. But using those footage of those guys in the 2000s, because those kids didn't know anything about these guys.
Right.
And then I would teach them, and then I would show them the film, and then we would emulate in individual time the drills that emulated those guys' running style. And we would use jump cuts, but I would use like level 3 drills where there's more than 2 skills attached to it, and they have to respond to a stimulus, so they don't know exactly what's going to happen, which is going to hopefully correlate with their experience in the game.
I am not mad at your list. I mean, I would, of course, add Barry Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
Terrell Davis.
Yes.
Those guys. But, like, you know, when it comes to, like, college running backs, and I don't know if you remember, because I'm a Wolverine, but one player that I watched as a kid, his name was Tim Biakabatuka.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he played for the Carolina Panthers.
He did. Yes. All right. So,
and he rushed for 325 yards in
one
a game.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think it was against Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken.
It was. Yeah. And I remember watching that game with my father, who passed away, R.I.P. Pops. But yes, he was one of my favorite. But there's just so many great guys out there, and you know, I was a huge Chris Johnson fan.
Oh, yeah. Ty Wheatley. Are you kidding me? Freshman Rose Bowl.
Yes,
it was over.
Yes. So
and Ty Wheatley, a great fantasy football player in the NFL. I don't know who had him, but probably won a championship.
And I wish Reggie Bush would have stayed. But I love those guys, man. Coach, you got me going down memory road, man.
That's what it's all about, right?
For real. Third question. In a competitive environment, injuries can take an impact on a team performance. How do you approach player safety, injury prevention, and recovering to ensure the well-being of your athletes?
So it starts with, I hired what I think is the absolute best strength and conditioning coach. His name's Mitch Wyatt, and he works with our boys, and he's cutting edge, and he's getting his doctorate at the U. He's next level, right?
Okay.
His passion, same passion we have for football, he has for exercise science.
That's awesome.
So he's always going professional development seminars. He's always helping me be the best I can be to learn as much as I can about preventing injuries and the exercises and the order that you do the exercises and how you do it over the course of a calendar year, and how it relates to safety. So that empowering him and learning from him to help me try to be better at it was number one. Like, I was lucky enough to work with Pete Carroll at USC in 2001, our staff and their staff. I get to spend a whole week with them. And during that week, when I was talking to Pete Carroll one-on-one like this with no podcasts, I said, if I run my own program, what's the first thing to do? He said, hire the best strength and conditioning coach and pay him 20% more than he's getting paid anywhere else. And so I did that first when I got hired at Murray. So that is part of my strategy. And then educating myself as much as I can on modern technology and equipment, because it's so much better.
Absolutely. I agree.
And learning those helmets. And that's my campaign that I'm pushing for right now are those helmets and getting better helmets on our kids.
Dude, I love that. Safety is paramount, right? Okay. My fourth question is, team cohesion is critical for success. How do you foster a sense of unity and collaboration among the players, coaches, staff, and even the parents to create a supportive community around your football program?
You know, one word. Food. And I'm not kidding.
He said food.
I got
love it.
I hired a team chef.
Okay.
And it was the best hire that I could have ever had. So when he's a real deal guy. He's a parent, but he's a real deal. Yeah. He works at a restaurant, and he's tremendously talented. And it's him and his ability to make sure that our boys eat the best stuff all the time. At any moment that I can get good food into the boys' system, I'm going to do that. And then in addition to that, we eat together.
That's awesome.
And we all share time together. I try to promote coaches being with coaches away from practice.
Right.
I try to promote kids being with kids away from practice.
Okay.
Because those pool parties, those going to the park and playing catch, frisbee, those are all examples that in the past have created that cohesion and that care for we all care about each other.
No, absolutely. Like that team building exercises are absolutely amazing. And the thing is when you have a team with chemistry and you have coaches that love and care, it shows out on the field. Yeah. It really does. My last question before you hit the road, which I'm kind of sad to even have to come to the end because I'm like enjoying myself.
Me too.
My last question is, high school athletes face academic challenges along with their commitment to sports. How do you balance and encourage academic excellence among your players, and what support system do you have in place for their overall development?
So one of the jobs I've had is a recruiting coordinator for National Scouting Report, NSR. And what I learned in that role was how important grades can play a role in getting financial aid to players, not just scholarships, right? I have the perspective or the philosophy that the best guys are going to get taken care of. Those colleges are going to find them, and they're going to go and get theirs. It's my job to get the next 10 who could potentially play college sports and teach them the strategies on how to get financial grants, scholarships. There's a bunch of money that people don't even see. And I want to educate them and the parents on this is the strategies that you can use to find this money. And it first and foremost is understanding that grades are the entryway to that team.
Absolutely.
I try to teach in our program, and we're going to put together workshops where parents and students understand that in order for you to play college sports, you've got to be a great investment. You got to be somebody that coach knows is going to withstand and be resilient enough to last 4 years or 5 when you're not happy.
Absolutely.
Grades do 100% of the work for you. If he sees that, the coach sees that you're 4.0, ACT's 24, and you're a good football player, you're the guy they want more than the great athlete who is going to struggle in the classroom. So teaching those guys how to do the things that get them good grades. So put them in any of the ACT prep courses multiple times. Take the test multiple times.
You're cooking with fire, man.
You want to also teach them. I get smarter kids in our school that do well academically in front of our football team and tell them these are the strategies that we use to get great grades.
No, absolutely.
One of them is do all our homework before we go home. Because I'm not going to feel like doing my homework, so I'm done by 3:30 instead of waiting till 8 at night, and then I've been at practice, I'm sleeping. There are opportunities throughout their entire day where they can get the beef of their homework done, and then they go home and just do them.
Oh, you're absolutely right. When I was in high school, not only did I have to, work like all because I worked, I also did volunteering. You have to do all those little intangibles, but if your grades are crap, it's a wrap. You can be the most talented kid in the world. If you cannot get the academics down.
And I've been in a scenario where Arizona State's coach, I was the sports information director in California at Charter Oak High School. So those coaches would all come to me and get information on all the athletes throughout the school. And this coach came to me and he said, we're going to offer your player today full ride Arizona State.
That's awesome.
And we walked with each other to the front office to get his transcripts. And I knew what they looked like. And I was pretty sure, I was scared, and they didn't offer him.
Because of his grades.
Transcript. And I never told the player to this day. I've never told the player, and I promised that coach I wouldn't. But I knew that the difference was those transcripts. He was going to get a full ride to Arizona State, and he didn't, and he never knew it, and his whole life is different now.
No, it makes a difference, and that's one of the reasons why we have this podcast. Is called In Between the Yards, because there's a lot of things going on in between the yards, right? You're calling plays, but it's like life. There's a lot of things going on that you have to do in order to get to where you want to go. And that's kind of how the cookie crumbles. But Coach Armijo, guys, this is one of the best coaches. RAF certified. I want to thank you for coming out, Coach Armijo.
I'm so grateful.
If you guys want an opportunity, you guys want to play for a coach that cares about the kid, the person, the development, Coach Armijo has my stamp of approval. Good man. And thank you guys for being part of In Between the Yards.
There we go.
All right, Coach Raf, Coach Armijo.
Thanks so much.
We out.